Please help me.
You will be fine, Ma.
She was a poor nurse with nothing, yet every morning she treated and helped a sick, homeless woman. But one day, something strange happened. A billionaire showed up at her door. Who was this billionaire, and what was his true connection to the sick woman? Sit back and find out as we delve into this touching story. In the forgotten corner of Port Harcourt City, the morning sun struggled to break through the heavy clouds. The smell of damp earth and decay filled an abandoned warehouse by the waterfront. On a piece of torn cardboard in a shadowy corner, an old woman lay shivering. Her body trembled uncontrollably. Her fingers were curled and stiff. Every breath she took seemed like it might be her last. Her name was Grace. Life had not always been this cruel to her. Not long ago, she had shared a simple life with her only son, Emmanuel, a hard-working young man who did everything to provide for them. They lived in a small 2-room apartment in the heart of the city. They were far from wealthy, but they had each other, and that was enough. Emmanuel also had a girlfriend, Rita. She seemed caring at first. Her words were always sweet, her smile was always wide. Grace trusted her completely. Emmanuel had dreams that reached beyond their small apartment. One night, he sat beside his mother on their old wooden bench and spoke from his heart. "Mama, I want to go overseas. I want to work there so I can give you and Rita the life you both deserve." Grace felt fear rise in her chest. "My son, do you really have to go so far away? Must you leave me here?" Emmanuel squeezed her rough hands gently. "Mama, I am doing this for us. I will send money back home every month. Rita will collect it for you. You will never lack anything, I promise." Grace wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust that everything would be fine. And Rita stood there beside them, nodding with that sweet smile. "Don't worry, Mama Grace. I will look after everything here. I will take care of you like you are my own mother." Months later, Emmanuel's travel documents were approved. At the airport, he held his mother so tightly that Grace could barely breathe. "Mama, I love you more than my own life. I will call you every week. I will make sure you are well." Tears rolled down Grace's wrinkled face. "May God keep you safe, my son. Come back to me." Rita stood close, wiping her eyes as though she too was heartbroken. "I will watch over her, Emmanuel. I promise you that." Emmanuel walked toward the departure gate, waving until he disappeared into the crowd. Grace stood there long after he was gone, hoping and praying she had made the right decision to let him go. For 4 years, everything appeared to be going well. Emmanuel sent money regularly for food, medicine, and rent. Because Grace could not read or write and had never used a phone in her life, all communication with her son came through Rita's phone. Emmanuel would call Rita and she would hand the phone to Grace so they could talk. At first, Rita did this faithfully, but slowly things started to change. Rita became colder. Her smiles disappeared. She stopped visiting Grace as often. When Grace asked about the money Emmanuel sent, Rita would wave her hand dismissively. "He said things are tight this month. Maybe next month will be better." Grace grew worried. "But my son always sends something. Are you sure he said that?" Rita's eyes darkened. "Are you calling me a liar, old woman?" Grace quickly shook her head. No, I just wanted to be sure." Then one evening, something happened that shattered Grace's heart completely. Rita came home late with a man. He was tall, muscular, and held Rita around her waist like she belonged to him. Grace was sitting on the only chair they had in the small living room when they walked in. "Rita, who is this man?" Grace asked, her voice shaking. Rita laughed loudly, almost mockingly. "Mama Grace, stop disturbing me with questions. Mind your own business." Grace's heart pounded. "But you are engaged to my son. Emmanuel is coming back for you. What are you doing?" Rita turned to her with a cruel smile. "That's your son? Let him stay wherever he is. I have moved on." The man kissed Rita on the lips right there in front of Grace. Grace covered her mouth in shock and disbelief. Rita walked into the bedroom and began packing her clothes into a bag. When she came back out, she looked straight into Grace's eyes and said without shame, "Tell Emmanuel thank you. His money helped me enjoy myself well. Me and my new man really enjoyed it." Grace felt her legs go weak. "Rita, After everything my son did for you? After all his sacrifices?" Rita only laughed as she walked out with the man, their hands locked together. The moment the door slammed shut, Grace fell to the ground and cried like she had never cried before. "God, why? Why this? How will I even tell my son? How will I reach him?" She had no phone, she had no number, she had nothing, absolutely nothing. Months dragged by. Grace waited every day, hoping Emmanuel would somehow know what had happened. But what came instead was the landlord banging angrily on her door one morning. "Old woman, where is my rent? You have not paid for 5 months now." Grace's hands trembled. "My son sends money. Rita was supposed to pay you. She always collected the money for me." The landlord snapped back. "I don't know any Rita. All I know is that you owe me money. Pack your things and leave my house today." And just like that, Grace was thrown out onto the streets. She walked through Port Harcourt with a small bag containing the few clothes she owned. She had no destination, she had no plan. She slept beside shop fronts, under bridges, and anywhere the night allowed her to rest. Eventually, she found this warehouse, a place with broken windows, no doors, and no hope. Now, after 6 months of barely surviving by begging and eating scraps, she lay there that morning, cold, weak, and utterly alone. Her voice was barely a whisper. "God, please don't let me die like this."
The cold bit into her bones. Her breathing slowed dangerously. Her body convulsed with fever. No one knew she was there. No one knew she was dying. But fate had other plans for her. Grace did not know it yet, but help was closer than she thought. That same morning, not very far from the warehouse, a young woman named Blessing rushed through a narrow path. She was dressed in her crisp white nurse uniform, checking her wristwatch repeatedly. It was her second week at a small community health clinic in the outskirts of Port Harcourt, and she was running late. Blessing was the eldest child in a family of 6. Her parents had sold everything they could to send her to nursing school. They worked multiple jobs, skipped meals, and prayed for her every single day. Blessing did not waste their sacrifices. She studied hard, passed her exams, and graduated with honors. After school, she moved out of her parents' home to find work, but life hit her harder than she expected. She searched for a job for over a year. She slept hungry most nights. She cried in silence many times, telling herself not to give up. Then finally, she got a job at this small clinic. It was not a big hospital, it was not what she dreamed of, but it was something, and she was deeply grateful. That morning, she woke up before dawn. She prepared quickly and hurried out the door. She kept glancing at her watch as she moved. "Oh God, time is running. I cannot be late again today." The clinic was still far, so she decided to take a shortcut through the industrial area where old warehouses stood abandoned. Some buildings had collapsed walls, some had no roofs. The area looked deserted and dangerous. Blessing walked quickly, her shoes tapping against the broken concrete. Then suddenly she stopped. She heard something. A faint sound, like someone breathing in pain, a soft groan. Her heart beat faster, but not from fear, from concern. Who would be suffering here? Who could be inside these forgotten buildings? She stood still for a moment. She knew she was already late for work. She knew her supervisor would be angry, but she also knew something more important. A nurse does not walk away from someone in pain. Blessing took a deep breath and followed the sound. She stepped into the warehouse carefully, dust rising from the ground beneath her feet. The air was cold and still. She moved slowly, listening closely. The groaning became clearer, heavy breathing, pain-filled moans. She followed the sound into a dark corner. What she saw made her gasp. An elderly woman, Grace, lay flat on the ground, shaking violently and completely helpless. Blessing rushed to her immediately. All thought of work vanished from her mind. "Ma, can you hear me?" Blessing said as she knelt down. Grace did not respond. Her skin was ice cold. Her hands were rigid. Her breathing was dangerously shallow. Blessing quickly checked her pulse by pressing 2 fingers against her neck. Oh no, this is bad. Very bad. She pulled out a small handkerchief from her bag and placed it gently on Grace's forehead. "Ma, please stay with me. I am here now. I will help you. Please, just hold on." Grace's lips moved slowly. Her voice was almost gone. "Help me. Please, help." Blessing held her hand tightly. "I will, Ma. Just stay with me. Don't give up." She looked around. The place was completely empty. No neighbors, no one to call, no help anywhere in sight. She looked back down at Grace. "I cannot leave you here to die," she whispered. And right there, in that cold, forgotten warehouse, Blessing made a silent promise in her heart. She would not let this woman die. Not today. Not like this. Blessing knelt beside Grace, still holding her cold hand. Her mind raced. She looked at the frail woman again. What do I do? How do I move her? She tried lifting Grace, but the woman was too weak and too heavy for her alone. I cannot carry her by myself, and I cannot drag her. She looked outside the warehouse. The road was empty. No people, no cars, no help. If I go looking for someone, I might not find anybody. And if I leave her here too long, she might die. She pressed her hand against her forehead, thinking hard. Then she made a decision. I have to run to the clinic. They have to help. They must. She stood up quickly and whispered to Grace, "Ma, please hold on. I will come back for you. I promise. Just stay alive." Grace blinked slowly. Her voice was faint. "Please don't go. Please don't leave me." Blessing squeezed her hand one more time. "I will be back, Ma. I will not abandon you." Then she turned and ran out of the warehouse. Her feet pounded the ground as fast as they could. Her breath came in heavy gasps. Her heart felt tight with fear. She kept praying under her breath, "God, please keep her alive until I return. Please." When she finally reached the clinic, her face was drenched in sweat. Standing at the entrance was her supervisor, Sister Patience, with her arms folded and a stern expression on her face. Sister Patience frowned. "Nurse Blessing, why are you just coming now? You are late again." Blessing did not even answer the question. She rushed forward and shouted, "Sister, please, there's an emergency. An elderly woman is dying in an abandoned warehouse. Please, we need help right now." Sister Patience's eyes widened. "What? Where?" "Not far from here. Please, we need the ambulance. We have to bring her immediately." For a moment, Sister Patience looked stunned. Then she turned sharply to the other nurses. "Prepare the ambulance. Move now." Within minutes, the small clinic ambulance was running. 2 nurses and a driver followed Blessing as she guided them back through the narrow road. When they reached the warehouse, the nurses rushed inside. The moment they saw Grace lying helpless on the ground, they moved quickly to help. "Lift her gently," Blessing instructed. Together, they carried Grace out and placed her carefully into the ambulance. Blessing held Grace's hand the entire way. "Ma, you will be fine. We are taking you to the clinic. Please stay with me." Grace's eyes opened slowly, then closed again. "Hold on, Ma. Please hold on," Blessing whispered. When they arrived at the clinic, they moved her straight into the ward. Nurses began treatment immediately, checking her temperature, giving her fluids, warming her body, doing everything they could. But as all this was happening, Blessing had her name being called. "Nurse Blessing, come to my office now." It was Sister Patience. Blessing followed her quietly, her heart beating fast for a different reason. Inside the office, Sister Patience sat down, her face serious. "You came late today. This is only your 2nd week. This is not acceptable." Blessing lowered her head. "I know, sister. I am truly sorry. But I could not leave that woman to die. She was alone. She was helpless. I had no choice." Sister Patience was silent for a long moment. Then she sighed. "Blessing, I am not angry that you helped someone. You did what a nurse should do. But you must never be late again, not even once. We have rules here. Do you understand?" Blessing nodded respectfully. "Yes, sister, I understand completely. I am very sorry. It will not happen again." Sister Patience looked at her for a long time. Then she nodded slowly. "Good. You may go. Continue your work and keep an eye on that elderly woman." Blessing bowed her head. "Thank you, sister." As she stepped out of the office, her heart felt lighter. She had saved a life. She did not know yet that this simple act of kindness would soon change her own life in ways she could never have imagined. Meanwhile, far away in another country, a young man sat in his office staring at his phone with a deeply worried expression. It was Emmanuel. His phone was in his hand. He kept looking at the screen. "Why is Rita not answering my calls anymore?" he whispered to himself. He tried again. The call went straight to voicemail. This is very strange. Mama always picks up when she hears Rita's phone ring. Why can't I reach them? He tried again and again, still nothing. He stood up slowly from his chair, fear creeping into his chest. What is happening back home? He had no idea that his mother was lying in a small clinic bed, fighting for her life, and that his world was about to change completely. Hours after Grace was brought into the clinic, the medicines began to work slowly. The fever in her body started to ease. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of a ceiling fan. Then Grace's eyes opened weakly, blinking as she tried to understand where she was. The white ceiling, the clean smell, the soft bed. Nothing looked familiar. She turned her head slightly. Beside her, on a small plastic chair, sat a young lady in a neat white nurse uniform. Her eyes were kind, her face looked tired but peaceful. Grace's voice came out very soft. "My child, where am I?" Blessing leaned forward immediately. "Ma, you are in the clinic. You fainted in an abandoned warehouse, but you are safe now." Grace stared at her for a moment, trying to remember. Then she whispered, "Are you the one who saved me?" Blessing smiled gently. "Yes, Ma, I am the one. My name is Blessing. I am the nurse who found you." Grace looked at her with weak eyes filled with deep gratitude. "God bless you, my daughter. If not for you, I don't know what would have happened." Blessing touched her hand softly. "Ma, please don't think about that now. I'm just glad you are awake. How do you feel?" Grace breathed slowly. "My body is very weak, but I can talk now. Thank you, my child." Blessing nodded. Then she asked in a calm voice, "Ma, do you have any family we can call? Maybe someone who can help with your hospital bills?" Grace shook her head weakly. "No, I have nobody here. My only son traveled abroad. I don't know how to reach him. The girl he left me with abandoned me too." Her eyes filled with tears as she spoke. Blessing's heart sank. She looked at Grace's thin hands, her weak face, her tired eyes. "So you have no one else?" she asked softly. "No one," Grace whispered. "Only my son, but he doesn't know where I am. I don't even know how to reach him." Blessing took a deep breath. She felt a sharp pain of worry in her chest. "Oh no, how will she pay her bills?" she thought silently. "This clinic is small, but treatment still costs money. What do I do now?" She did not want Grace to see her fear, so she forced a small smile. "Ma, please rest. Let me go and check something." Grace nodded slowly. "Thank you, my child. Thank you for not abandoning me." Blessing stood up from the chair. For a moment, she looked at Grace lying weakly on the bed. Her heart felt heavy. She whispered softly only to herself, "God, how will this woman survive?" Then she walked out of the room. Inside the ward, Grace turned her head gently toward the small window. The sky outside was bright and calm. Birds flew past slowly. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "My son, wherever you are, please come home." She placed her trembling hands together. "Father, please help him find me. Please don't let me die like this." Her voice faded into soft, painful silence. She closed her eyes again, praying, hoping, waiting for a miracle she could not see yet. The day moved slowly at the clinic. Blessing tried her best to focus on her duties. She checked patients, recorded vital signs, cleaned wounds, and submitted reports to the desk. But even as she smiled at people and did her work, her mind kept returning to one place, the ward where Grace lay. Every time Blessing passed the hallway, she found herself stopping for a moment, looking toward Grace's door. "She is so helpless," Blessing whispered in her heart. "How will she survive? Who will pay her bills?" But she pushed the thoughts aside and continued working. Later that evening, after a long, exhausting day, Blessing finally walked home. Her neighborhood was a poor area on the outskirts of the city. Small one-room buildings, dusty streets, and dim street lights. When she reached her doorstep, her heart dropped. A white paper was stuck on her door. She stepped closer and read it. "Power disconnected. You owe 3 months' bill." Blessing closed her eyes in sadness. She touched the paper gently. "Oh no, not again," she whispered. She opened the door to her small room. The place was pitch dark. The only light came from the street outside. She sat on her old wooden chair, thinking deeply. "God, when will my life get better?" she said softly. She looked around the tiny room. Her thin mattress, her small table, the few things she had struggled to buy. Tears gathered in her eyes. "I work so hard, but everything is still so difficult." Just then, her phone rang. It was her parents. She wiped her eyes quickly and answered with a forced smile. "Hello, Mama. Hello, Papa." Her mother's voice came first. "My daughter, how are you doing?" Blessing tried to keep her voice steady. "Mama, I am fine. Don't worry about me. I'm managing well." But her mother sighed sadly. "We are also trying here, my daughter. Feeding your brothers and sisters, paying their school fees. We are doing our best." Blessing closed her eyes. She wanted to tell them how hard life was for her. She wanted to cry, but she did not want to add to their pain. "Mama, everything will be fine," she said softly. "God is watching over us. Things will get better soon." Her father spoke next. "We believe you, my daughter. Be strong. We are praying for you every day." "Thank you, Papa." After the call ended, Blessing sat still for a long time. Her heart felt weak. "When will this suffering end?" she whispered to herself. She leaned back on her bed, thinking deeply. Then her mind went back to Grace, the old woman with no family. She sighed and lay down on her bed. Even though her life was hard, even though she was tired and broken, she felt grateful she had helped Grace that morning. "At least I saved someone today," she whispered. Slowly, her eyes closed. 5 days passed. High up in the sky, inside a quiet airplane, a young man sat by the window with fear written all over his face. It was Emmanuel. His fingers kept tapping his leg nervously. His eyes were filled with worry. His mind was heavy. "Mama, what is going on? Why is Rita not answering my calls?" he whispered to himself. It had been almost 5 years since he left Nigeria in search of a better life. He remembered everything clearly. 3 years after he traveled, life abroad was brutal. He worked small jobs, washing cars, cleaning offices, packing boxes in warehouses, just to send something home. But the money was never enough. He felt ashamed. "My mother deserves better. Rita deserves better," he always said. Then he made a bold decision. He gathered the little savings he had and started a small delivery business. It was nothing big, just him, a bicycle, and hope. He moved from place to place delivering packages for busy families. One afternoon, he delivered a package to the home of a wealthy businessman named Mr. Thompson. After the delivery, Mr. Thompson called him back. "Young man, wait. Come inside for a moment." Emmanuel stepped in, confused. Mr. Thompson smiled. "I have been watching you for weeks. You work hard. You work with integrity. I like that. Tell me, who owns this delivery business?" Emmanuel swallowed. "Sir, it's mine. It's very small, but I am trying my best." Mr. Thompson laughed warmly. "Trying? Young man, you are doing more than trying. You have something rare. Discipline and vision. Let me help you. I want to invest in your business. I will help you expand it properly. This business can become something very big." Those words changed everything. Months later, the business was officially registered. Then, through Mr. Thompson's connections, Emmanuel won a government logistics contract for the entire southern region. A long-term contract. A life-changing contract. Money came in more than he ever dreamed of. He became wealthy, very wealthy. Big houses, cars, workers, bank accounts. His life transformed completely. But one thing never changed: his love for his mother. And now he couldn't reach her. So he could no longer sit in the dark. He needed to travel home and find out exactly what happened to Rita and his mother. He wanted to be sure nothing bad had happened to either of them. So he made all the necessary arrangements and began his journey back home.
Emmanuel's voice shook as he spoke quietly inside the plane. Mama, I promised to take care of you. I promised I would never fail you. What happened? The plane landed in Port Harcourt. A black jeep waited outside the airport. Emmanuel entered the car quickly. The driver sped off. Emmanuel's heart beat faster with every mile. He had no idea how much pain his mother had endured. That same evening at the clinic, Blessing finished treating patients. She was exhausted. As she walked toward the door to go home, she heard a commotion coming from Grace's ward. Please, I don't have money. Please, I beg you. It was Grace's voice.
Blessing hurried to the ward. Inside, 2 nurses stood beside Grace. One of them spoke sharply. Mama, you have to pay your bill. You have been here for 5 days now. You must pay. Grace shook her head weakly. Please, I don't have anything. I beg you, please. Blessing stepped forward. What is going on here? One nurse replied coldly. Her bill is overdue. She must pay or leave. Blessing felt her chest tighten. She walked out quickly and went straight to Sister Patience's office. She knocked once and stepped inside. Sister, please, I want to talk about the elderly woman I brought in. Sister Patience looked up. Yes, what is it, Blessing? Blessing took a deep breath. Sister, please, deduct her medical bill from my salary. Give me half of my salary every month and use the other half to pay for her treatment. I beg you. She has no one. She will die if we send her away, please. Sister Patience's face softened. Blessing, your salary is very small. It cannot cover this bill fully. It will take many months. Blessing nodded quickly. Then take it for many months. Sister, take it for as long as needed. I don't mind. Please help her. Sister Patience looked at Blessing with surprise and deep respect. After a long silence, she finally said, It is against clinic policy, but I can see your heart. I will approve it. Blessing's eyes filled with relief. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. Sister Patience signed the paper and handed Blessing the receipt. Blessing hurried back to Grace's ward. She walked inside and held up the paper. Her bill has been cleared, she said firmly. The nurses looked at the paper, saw the signature, and nodded. All right, we will update her file, one of them said, before walking out. Blessing walked slowly toward Grace with a small smile. Ma, don't worry. I have paid for your treatment. Grace broke into tears. My child, how will I ever repay you? You don't even know me. Blessing sat on the small chair beside her. Ma, don't worry about that. You will be discharged in 3 days. Do you have anywhere to stay? Grace shook her head slowly. No, my child, nowhere. Blessing smiled softly. Then come and stay with me for now, just for a short time. Grace covered her face with shaky hands and cried, God bless you, my child. Thank you so much. Blessing touched her shoulder gently. Rest now, Ma. Everything will be okay. She picked up her small bag, stood up, and said, Good night, Ma. I will see you tomorrow. Then she left the ward and walked home, not knowing that the next few days would bring a surprise she never expected. A whole week passed. Emmanuel sat alone inside a quiet hotel room. The room was silent, but his heart was not. His plan had been simple. Come home, find his mother, take her abroad, and marry Rita. But now, everything was shattered. He leaned forward on the bed, holding his head in both hands. God, what is happening? Where is my mother? He whispered. His mind went back to what happened the very day he arrived from the airport. That day, he went straight to the old house where he and his mother once lived. When he knocked, a stranger opened the door. Good afternoon, sir. Please, I am looking for my mother, Emmanuel said. The man frowned. Your mother? This house has new tenants now. The old woman who was here left many months ago. The landlord threw her out. Emmanuel felt his chest tighten. Threw her out? Why? I sent money regularly. Why would she be thrown out? The landlord shook his shoulders. The old woman told me the same thing, but I never saw any money. That girl Rita never paid me a dime. She left one day with another man. People said she had been dating him for a long time. The landlord shook his head. Your mother begged me. She cried. But she had no money. I had no choice but to send her away. Emmanuel felt something break inside him. He whispered softly, Mama, how much did you suffer because of me? The landlord continued. People said she slept by roadsides, sometimes beside shop fronts. I don't know where she is now. Nobody knows. Emmanuel could not believe his ears. Rita had betrayed him. His mother had suffered alone, and now she was missing. That memory still burned his heart as he sat alone in the hotel room. He clenched his fists together. I will find her. Even if it takes everything I have, I will find her. Early that morning, he picked up his phone again. He called old friends from the neighborhood. He called old church members. He called old shopkeepers who knew his mother. Please, have you seen my mother? Do you know where she is? Please, anything, any information at all. But every answer was the same. No, we haven't seen her in a long time. Still, Emmanuel refused to give up. He called his driver. Go around the whole area. Ask everyone. Check the streets. Check abandoned places. Anywhere homeless people might hide. Please don't rest until you find something. The driver nodded. Yes, sir. I will search everywhere. When nothing came up, he went to the police station and reported the case. He gave them every detail. His mother's name, age, old pictures, even the day he was told she left the house. The police told him they would try their best.
Meanwhile, in a tiny one-room apartment across the city, life was slowly changing for two people. Grace was now living with Blessing. The room was very small but warm. The bed was tiny but clean. Life was hard but peaceful. Every morning, Blessing woke up early, prepared Grace's medicine, and made sure she ate before leaving for work. Ma, please take your drugs at the right time. I will come back early today. Grace nodded with a weak smile. Thank you, my child. May God continue to bless you. When Blessing left, Grace stayed alone in the small room. She ate slowly, she took her medicine, and she rested. Little by little, she was getting stronger. She often looked around the room with quiet tears. How did a complete stranger become the only person who cares for me? My son, if only you knew where I am. Even though life was tough, the house was filled with quiet peace, something Grace had not felt in a very long time. One morning, as the sun slowly rose over the city, Emmanuel sat on his hotel bed with tired eyes. He had barely slept. Suddenly, his phone rang. He picked it up immediately. Hello? A calm voice spoke on the other end. Mr. Emmanuel, this is the police. We couldn't find your mother yet, but we traced her last known location to a small community clinic in the outskirts of the city. Emmanuel stood up immediately, his voice shaking. A clinic? I am coming right now. He hung up and rushed out of the room. Driver, take me to the police station. Hurry. When they arrived at the station, two officers got into the jeep with him. Sir, we will follow you to the area. It's far, but we will get there. Emmanuel nodded, anxiety eating deep into him. The drive was long. They passed busy roads, then quiet streets, then dusty paths. His hands kept shaking on his lap. Mama, please be safe. Please, he whispered. By afternoon, they finally arrived at the small clinic. Inside, Sister Patience met there at the reception desk. Emmanuel stepped forward, his voice urgent. Good afternoon, sister. Please, we are looking for my mother. Her name is Grace. This is her picture. Sister Patience collected the picture and stared at it. Her eyes widened. She remembered. Yes, I remember this woman. She was brought here days ago, very sick. One of our newly employed nurses found her. Please wait a moment, she said. She walked to the patient record shelf, pulled out a file and checked the register. Her finger moved slowly down the list of names. Then she stopped. Her eyes widened again. Yes, here it is. Her name is Grace. She was admitted here weeks ago. She lifted her head and looked at Emmanuel. I remember her now.
She was very sick. One of our newly employed nurses found her on the road. Emmanuel's heart jumped. Where is she now? Please, is she still alive? Sister Patience nodded gently. Yes, she is alive. Nurse Blessing, a very kind girl, found her, paid her bills from her own salary, and later took her to stay in her house. Your mother is with her now. Emmanuel froze, completely shocked. A stranger did all that? She saved her, she paid for her, and took her home? Sister Patience nodded. Yes, Blessing has a very good heart. We are blessed to have her here. Emmanuel swallowed hard, tears forming in his eyes. Please, where can I find them? Where is this Blessing? Sister Patience replied, Today is Blessing's off-duty day. She is not here. But wait, let me check her staff records for her home address. She walked into her office, opened Blessing's file, and found the address. Here it is. This is where she lives. Emmanuel bowed deeply. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. He turned to the officers. Let's go now. Meanwhile, not far away in a small one-room apartment, Blessing and Grace sat side by side on the small bed, sharing a simple meal of fried yam and pepper sauce. Grace smiled softly. My daughter, thank you. You saved my life. May God continue to bless you abundantly. Blessing touched her hand. Ma, don't worry. You will be completely fine. Just then, they heard a knock on the door. Both women turned toward the door. Blessing stood up, confused. Who could that be? She opened the door slightly. Standing there was a handsome young man in a suit with 2 police officers behind him. The man smiled gently. Good afternoon, ma. My name is Emmanuel. Please, are you Blessing? Blessing blinked in surprise. Yes, I am Blessing. Before she could ask anything else, Grace heard the voice. Her eyes widened. Her body trembled. She stood up slowly and whispered, Emmanuel, my son, is that really you? Emmanuel turned toward the voice. Their eyes met. Both froze. Both shook. Tears filled both of them at the same time. Mama, Emmanuel whispered. My son, Grace cried. They ran into each other's arms, holding each other tightly, crying like children. Blessing stood by the side, her hand over her chest, smiling through her own tears. Mama, Emmanuel wiped her tears gently. Ma, I'm here now. I will never leave you again. Let's go. Come with me. He held her carefully and tried to lead her out, but Grace held his hand firmly. Wait, please. She pointed at Blessing. I want her to come with us. She took me in when I had nowhere to go. She fed me. Please, my son, let her come. Blessing shook her head. Ma, it's okay. I need to go to work. I can't just leave my job like that. But Emmanuel stepped forward. His voice was gentle and filled with deep gratitude. Blessing, I owe you everything. You saved my mother when I couldn't reach her. Please come with us. If you follow us, I can help you get a better job in a bigger hospital. I promise. Please. Blessing's eyes widened. Tears filled her eyes. You would do that for me?
Yes, Emmanuel said softly. Please, let me help you the way you helped my mother. Blessing covered her mouth as tears dropped. Okay, I will come. Grace smiled, crying softly. God bless you both. Together, they all left the small apartment and followed Emmanuel to the hotel. He arranged a suite for them. 4 weeks passed quickly. Life had changed in ways none of them expected. Emmanuel had found a beautiful apartment where he planned to stay until he returned abroad with his mother. It was clean, spacious, and safe. A big change from the pain his mother had suffered in the past. He also kept his promise to Blessing. He got her a good nursing job in one of the best hospitals in the city. The job came with a well-furnished apartment, clean bed, gas cooker, small refrigerator, good lighting, everything she never had before. When Blessing walked into the place for the first time, she covered her mouth with her hands and whispered, Is this really mine? Emmanuel smiled gently. Yes, you deserve it. Thank you for helping my mother when she had no one. He didn't stop there. He also sent money to Blessing's parents, enough to clear their debts and even start a small business. Blessing cried when she heard what he did. Thank you, sir. You don't know how much this means to my family. Emmanuel replied softly. Please don't call me sir. Just call me Emmanuel.
Meanwhile, Emmanuel had learned everything that Rita did. How she lied, how she stole his money, and how she left his mother to suffer. He was furious, deep, painful fury. One morning, he walked into the police station. "I want to report a case. I have evidence." The police collected the documents and nodded. "We will handle it, sir. Leave everything to us." Emmanuel walked out feeling hurt but relieved. Later that week, Emmanuel sat with Grace in the living room. "Mama, I want you to come abroad with me. Life will be much better there. I will take good care of you." Grace sighed softly. "My son, are you sure?" Emmanuel held her hand. "Yes, Mama. I just want you close. I don't ever want to lose you again." Grace nodded slowly. "If I am with you, then I am at peace. Let us go." Emmanuel began preparing her travel documents immediately. One afternoon, Grace sat beside her son. "Emmanuel, what about your plans for marriage? Do you have someone in mind?" Emmanuel looked away. "Mama, I don't know. After what Rita did, I don't even want to think about love again." Grace smiled. "Forget Rita. She was never meant for you. But Blessing, that girl is special. She works hard. She has a kind heart. Think about her." Emmanuel shook his head quickly. "No, Mama. I don't even know her well enough. I can't just fall in love like that." Grace touched his shoulder gently. "Then get to know her. Talk to her. See who she truly is." Emmanuel said nothing, but that night he kept thinking. The next day, Emmanuel invited Blessing for dinner. She wore a simple dress and her smile lit up the room. During dinner, they talked about her life, her dreams, her struggles, and his own journey. Emmanuel found himself laughing, listening, and feeling something he didn't expect. In the weeks that followed, they spoke more often, sometimes at Emmanuel's apartment, sometimes in a quiet park, sometimes at a restaurant. And slowly, after a month, without meaning to, a small seed of love began to grow. One evening, Emmanuel sat alone in his room thinking deeply. Why am I feeling this way again after everything Rita did? Why Blessing? Why now? But he also knew the truth. He could not deny how he felt. He walked to his mother's room and sat beside her. "Mama, I think I like Blessing. I don't know why, but I feel something real." Mama smiled warmly. "Follow your heart, my son. Leave the past behind. Open your heart again. You deserve happiness." Emmanuel nodded slowly. Days later, Emmanuel and Blessing were taking a walk in a small garden behind his apartment. Suddenly, Emmanuel stopped walking. "Blessing, there is something I want to say." She turned to him. "What is it, Emmanuel?" He took a deep breath. "I think I have feelings for you. Real feelings. I didn't expect this. I didn't plan it, but it's there." Blessing's eyes widened. She looked down, shy and uncertain. "Emmanuel, I feel something too, but I don't know if it can work. You just went through a huge heartbreak." Emmanuel stepped closer. "I know, but I have decided to give love another chance, and I want that chance with you." Blessing looked into his eyes. Silence. Then she whispered, "I feel the same." Emmanuel pulled her gently into a warm embrace. Something new had begun, something hopeful, something neither of them had planned. 2 weeks later, news spread across the city. Rita had been arrested. The police had gathered enough evidence from Emmanuel, and from their investigation, they went to the place where Rita was staying. The moment she saw the officers approaching, her new boyfriend ran away, leaving her behind. He didn't look back. He simply disappeared. The police handcuffed her. "Rita, you are under arrest for fraud and theft," the officer said. She broke into tears, but it was too late. She had to face the consequences of everything she did. Meanwhile, Emmanuel and his mother received good news. Grace's travel documents were ready. Emmanuel held the papers and smiled. "Mama, everything is set. Are you ready to travel? We can leave soon." Grace looked at him with a calm smile. My son, what about Blessing? You two are perfect for each other. Let me stay for now. Emmanuel nodded slowly. Mama, I actually had a plan. I want to take Blessing with us when we travel. Grace's face brightened. Then hurry up with the plans, my son. She's a very good girl. Don't delay. Emmanuel smiled.
A week later, Emmanuel took a big step. He planned a small surprise in the garden where they always took walks. Soft lights were placed around the flowers. The evening breeze was calm. Blessing walked in, confused. Emmanuel, what is happening? Why does this place look so beautiful? Emmanuel held her hands gently. Blessing, from the first day you helped my mother, you changed my life completely. You gave me peace. You gave my mother hope. And you brought love back into my heart. Blessing's eyes softened. Emmanuel. He slowly went down on one knee. Blessing, will you marry me? Her hands flew to her face, tears filling her eyes. Yes, yes, Emmanuel, I will marry you. He placed the ring on her finger and she hugged him tightly. A few days later, they went to Blessing's family house. Her parents and siblings gathered in the small living room. Emmanuel stood before them respectfully and made his intention known. He wanted to marry their daughter. Blessing's father looked at him quietly. Young man, are you sure? Marriage is not a small thing. Emmanuel nodded. Yes, sir, I promise with all my heart. Blessing's mother smiled at Grace. Your family is kind. We are happy to accept. Grace also spoke. Your daughter saved my life. She is now my daughter too. We will take very good care of her. Blessing's parents nodded happily. And with that, the families agreed. 3 months later, the wedding was held. It was simple but beautiful. Bright flowers, soft music, happy tears, and smiles everywhere. Emmanuel looked proud. Blessing looked like a new light had entered her life. And Grace thanked God for bringing joy back to her home. After the celebration, Emmanuel, Blessing, and Grace packed their bags. They said goodbye to everyone. Then they boarded a plane together. A new chapter, a new life, a journey filled with hope, peace, and love. And this time, Grace was not alone, Blessing was not struggling anymore, and Emmanuel's heart had healed. Together, they started a new beginning. 3 weeks after they settled into their new home abroad, life began to feel calm again. The nights were peaceful, the days were quiet. One evening, as Emmanuel and Blessing relaxed in their bedroom, Blessing looked at her husband with gentle eyes. She knew there was still one thing weighing on his heart. She touched his hand softly. Emmanuel, there's something I want to talk about, she said. He turned to her. What is it, my love? Blessing took a deep breath. It's about Rita. Emmanuel's face tightened slightly. The wound was still fresh. Blessing held his hand tighter. I know she hurt you badly. I know she caused your mother so much pain. And I know she doesn't deserve forgiveness. Emmanuel looked down quietly. Blessing continued. But forgiveness is not for her. It is for you. Letting go will help your heart heal completely. You cannot carry anger into this new chapter of your life. You deserve peace, Emmanuel. Real peace. Her voice was calm and filled with love. Forgive her, not because she earned it, but because you want to be free. Emmanuel sat in silence for a long moment. Her words sank deep into his heart. Slowly, his eyes softened. Blessing, you are right. I have been holding on to this pain for too long. I will let it go. She smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. I'm proud of you, she whispered. The next day, Emmanuel contacted the police and officially withdrew all charges against Rita. It was not for her sake, but for his own peace. And as he signed the case withdrawal document and sent it to the police through email, he felt a heavy weight lift off his heart. A new chapter had truly begun. Moral lesson. Life can change in one single moment.
Sometimes the people we trust the most may disappoint us deeply, and the people we never knew may become our greatest blessing. Kindness has a power that money cannot buy. When you help someone without expecting anything in return, destiny always finds a way to reward you abundantly. And most importantly, forgiveness is not a gift to the person who hurt you. It is a gift you give to yourself so your heart can be free and your future can be bright. My dear viewers, what lesson did you learn from this touching story? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. I would really love to read from you. And in just a few days, I will upload another very interesting story that I know you will absolutely enjoy. So make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and turn on your notification bell so you will be notified the moment the new story drops. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family so they can enjoy it too. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you. God bless you richly and see you in the next video.